to Tuck Talks with Damon on location in beautiful San Francisco, California at the fabulous Beck's Motor Lodge, my home away from I don't know where. Uh, and I am here with the gorgeous, talented Bay Area inspiration, Enzo Mthethwa.
Hi, everyone.
I'm so happy to see you.
Happy to see you.
I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for
Me
reaching
too.
out to me, and thank
Yeah,
you for,
absolutely.
for showing up and having this
Totally.
conversation with me.
It's so nice to finally meet you.
Oh, so good to finally meet you. I love the way you contribute energy here and create community here in the Bay Area.
Oh, thank you.
And I think it's so important and it's so necessary. I can't wait for people to hear what you're doing here. Before we get there, I want to ask you, Enzo. You now want to ask
Yes.
what do you like most about your body?
Oh, that is a good question.
Well,
I've
that's
watched
why I asked
many of your videos. I've heard so many people talk about it, but I never think about it for myself. My favorite, I can tell you other people's favorite parts of
I
my
want to
body.
know what you like. When you look in the mirror naked at yourself, what do you see that you say, yes, I like this?
Actually, right now I would say my hair, because this is a new style for me that I've been growing locks for, well, since 2021, so 4 years now. And that's been a new joy for me to have like long hair for the first time that just, falls on my shoulders. I can flip around. And so right now, at this point in my life, my hair is my favorite part.
Beautiful. And you've never grown your hair long before?
I've grown it long, but it's always been like an afro or like a mohawk or something like that. It's always like something that kind of sticks up. I've never had it fall down like this, where it's just kind of flowy. And I've always wanted to have hair like that. So,
wow. Okay.
So yeah, I think that's a hair counts, right?
It's up to you.
Yeah.
Anything else that you like about your naked body? Your hair is beautiful. But anything else that you see in yourself that you say? Is this a difficult question to answer?
It's not difficult in the sense that like I have anything that I really hate about my body. I think that's the reason why. It's because like I don't look at myself as like individual body parts. I look at myself as a whole body. I think that's because I'm naked all the time. I see other men naked all the time.
Yeah.
I'm interacting with people as their whole natural, authentic, like bodies.
Yeah.
So for me, like it's not like being on the internet where you're meeting other guys and you see disembodied cocks or butts or like body parts. Like I like seeing the whole man or the whole self. So for me, it's like it's all one thing.
Wow. So you're seeing yourself and you're seeing other naked bodies all the time.
Yeah.
How and where? Let's talk about what you're doing here.
So
how are you seeing all these naked people in San Francisco and the Bay Area?
I'm a big time nudist, and so I'm always searching for opportunities to be naked, whether it's indoors, outdoors, private, public, at home, other people's homes, like literally wherever. So I find myself in naked places all the time, and what I've discovered since living in the Bay Area is that there's tons of opportunities to be naked outdoors in lots of places all over Northern California. Some of my favorite places are nude beaches that are on rivers in the mountains, out here. And of course, there's some nude beaches on the coast here as well. And then I've met friends who have private properties that are in rural areas that are a little bit warmer because they're a little further outside of the city, but they have places where like they host people, they have pool parties, they have people over just to hang out naked, and they're all nude and they're nudists. And
are these up in like the Russian River area, Greenville?
Not that far, but I have some friends in Fairfield, which is in Solano County, close to Vacaville and Vallejo. And then I have a second boyfriend who lives up in Sonoma County, close to Greenville, and he has a similar setup. And but then also I've just been discovering a lot of naked house parties. Also, like there's now more official like naked socials that are at venues that people host. There's
how do you find them?
I'm desperate for them, basically. I'm just like, I look wherever I can find them. And last year was actually a really good year for me as far as nudism, because it just kind of snowballed. I set an intention in June of last year at the beginning of the summer. I'm like, I want to be naked outdoors as much as I can during this summer, and I want to have sex outdoors as much as I can this summer. And it just really manifested, and that's one of my spiritual gifts, is just manifesting stuff. So I just like made that intention. And it started happening to the point where other people who knew me, like everyone who knows me knows that I'm a nudist, all my friends. And so once they started hearing like, oh, he's looking for places to be naked outdoors, and it's like, oh, we heard about this other naked party that's going on. You should go. You should know about that. And so people just started sharing stuff with me. Then I would go to those parties. I'd meet more new friends, and they connect me to other stuff. And just everyone's just giving me feedback and stuff. So eventually, it just becomes this whole community of people just exchanging information because here I think this is the same really anywhere, but like once you live someplace long enough you meet everybody like as far as a gay man and as a gay nudist the community is pretty small, so like eventually it sounds like it's big when you first get here, but after, if you've lived here for a few years you realize like, oh, I see the same people everywhere. And so we're looking for the same thing. We're all looking for the same parties and beaches and stuff like that. So it all just eventually adds up. And then I've been throwing my own events as well.
Yeah.
I tried something new this year. I haven't had an opportunity to really do it yet a second time because surprisingly, this summer has been colder than usual in San Francisco, and so hasn't been as many opportunities now as actually there were warmer days in the spring than there are right now. I did a new idea. This isn't nude, but it was like as close as I could get to that. I did a speedo day in Oakland across the bay on Lake Merritt because I felt like um, Lake Merritt is in downtown Oakland in the East Bay, and it has a great communal atmosphere at Lake Merritt. There's all sorts of people that gather there and hang out and do their own little thing. There are cookouts or vendors or just picnics, anything. All sorts of people are represented, but there's no gay spot. There's no gay section, and I think there should be. And so took that upon myself to create that, and I did that by hosting this speedo event because it's not a nude beach, unfortunately, but I wanted to create a nude beach alternative for whenever it's too cold to be in San Francisco at the beaches there on the coast,
Right.
which is often during the summer.
So for the geography, it's like sometimes those beaches on the coast in San Francisco
They're very
can
cold.
be very cold.
Very cold.
And then you just go a few miles inland
Yes, you just go
to
across the
Oakland,
bay.
and it's
warm
like
and sunny.
bright and
It's
sunny,
beautiful. Yeah.
and it's so that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it can be up to a 10-degree difference.
Yeah, because the wind and the
Yeah.
fog.
Well, by
It's
the time the
fog, yeah.
fog reaches Oakland, it's just a nice little breeze.
Yeah.
It's very comfortable.
Right. So it makes sense to want to have those or
Yeah.
have open events out there
Yeah.
by the lake.
Yeah. So I did that, and that was successful.
Yeah.
I've only done it once so far, but I had 20 guys show up.
Wow.
Most of them, I think all of them were from the East Bay, actually.
Oh.
I think that's why, like, when I've been doing naked parties also, like, I make sure, like, since living in Oakland, I used to live here in San Francisco too, but now I live in Oakland, and since living there, I've been throwing naked social parties. They're also sex positive, so there's sex that happens as well. But the primary reason I do it is to build community in the East Bay. And when I have a lot of people that show up who live in Oakland or somewhere near there, they're just happy to have somewhere to go without having to cross the bridge to go to San Francisco. And but I also attract people from like all over the state. They'll show up for my parties as well. So I've been really lucky to attract a good crowd and a big crowd sometimes. This last party I had was on June 1st, and that was the largest party I had. It was 30 naked men in my house.
In your house.
In my house. And I live in this tiny 2-bedroom apartment in Oakland. And so it was very crowded, but everyone loved it. All my friends are very touchy-feely. They're very comfortable just laying on top of each other on the couch in the living room and chatting. And then, of course, like, I turned the bedrooms into a playroom, so like people have no problem piling on top of each other in there. But everyone said they had a great time, and so that was probably my biggest, most successful party yet. Was the last one I had.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people to host.
Yeah.
And then I know sometimes when people are naked, they can be, I guess sometimes can be a little picky or a little, they sometimes feel insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And then like blame the host if something's wrong. Or something goes wrong, or someone says no, or someone rejects them, then they like lash out on the host.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever happened to you?
No.
Okay.
No. Most of the people I invite, I'm very intentional when I am now. This has taken some time for me to get to this point to learn this, but this wave of naked parties I'm having currently, I'm very picky with who I invite. I mean, I have a lot of friends who I think are a good fit for my parties, but I don't invite. I make sure, like, when I'm inviting people, I'm thinking, is this person going to help create the kind of culture and atmosphere that I want to create?
Which is what?
Which is casual and accepting, and just non-judgmental, sex positive, people who are not prudes. It's not a requirement to have sex in my parties. And I do have men who show up who have no desire to have sex. They just want to enjoy the social nudity aspect, and they still have a great time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes there's people who show up who think they're not going to have sex, and then they change their mind because they meet the right person. And but yeah, I'm way more intentional now with who I invite now than I've ever been, and I think that's helped contribute to creating such a welcoming, friendly atmosphere. And I've gotten constant feedback from other people who've attended that, like, the best part of it is the people. That is just people that are easy to get along with. It's people feel accepted. It's friendly, casual, funny, intelligent conversation. It's no one feels uncomfortable about being naked or being in their body, whatever it looks like. And we have a very diverse set of bodies, diverse set of people. That's been another big goal of mine, is to just bring more diversity. I have I have Black people there. I have trans people there. I have people of, older age there. I have people of larger size there. All sorts of people, and that's been really great to see. And just everyone gets along really well. So these are all people that, most of them are people that I know personally. They're all friends of mine. A lot of them are nudists, or a lot of them are people that I've personally had sex with. So I know they're not going to have an issue with going to a party where there's sex happening. Even if they are, they're comfortable with other people being there having sex. They're not freaked out by that. So it's been, this has probably been my most successful, like, wave, I'll call it, of naked parties, where I'm, like, getting, like, exactly what I want. Because it's taken some practice to perfect it. I've done different types of naked parties over the years as I've lived on the West Coast, and this definitely has been the best one.
So you learned through your experience.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
37.
37.
Yeah.
And when did you start attending naked parties?
When I was in my 20s. So I'm originally from Florida, and I used to live in Orlando, and that's when I didn't grow up in Orlando, but after I came out as gay, I moved to Orlando, and that's where I simultaneously began both my gay life and my, like, nude life openly.
Wow.
I was, like, secret about both before that.
Wow.
And so I discovered that, there's other guys who like to get naked too. And I got to go to my first nude beach when I was out there, which is on the grounds of the Kennedy Space Center.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun and it's beautiful, and it's called Playa Linda.
Wow.
But yeah, I discovered that my first nude beach, and I discovered, like, lots of other gay men like to get naked too and hang out. And I started, I stumbled onto a social networking site called True Nudists, and True Nudists is nice to have. It's not exactly the best place to go if you're looking for local nudists to hang out with. Like, I've had some success. So through that, I was able to meet other local gay nudists where I lived, who invited me to gay naked pool parties in the area. And that's where it just started to grow. And that was where I saw my first, like, example of, like, this is what a gay naked party social looks like. And those were, like, so they were pool parties during the summer. So, like, summer was my, like, favorite season. It still is, as a nudist.
So you were in your 20s in Orlando.
Yeah.
Were there other people of color there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Florida has a lot of Black people.
Okay.
I would say so this is an interesting conversation. I live in Oakland because there's a ton of Black people there. And the same was true in Florida. However, the difference is that there's a cultural difference as far as what's acceptable in a community of people. And I've noticed that Black people, they're the hardest to get naked. They have the most resistance, like, culturally.
Okay.
Like, they have the biggest issue with their body and their sexuality, especially if they're gay men. I've had some success.
Why is that?
Religion. If I could sum it up to one word, religion. But
help me with the dots. Religion leads to.
So I would say there's a lot of shame
Yeah.
around sexuality and their bodies
Okay.
when it comes to like Christianity and church life and all of that.
So that showing your naked body or expressing your sexuality is sinful.
Yeah, especially if you're gay.
Okay.
Especially if you're gay.
Is it also to do with racism within the gay community that exists? Or
if you are a queer Black man who can come around and like overcome the cultural barriers where you're at externally, to get to the point where you're comfortable enough with your body to pursue nudism in a social way, then once you leave, that shame behind and you join the larger, broader, like mainstream world, which is mostly white people in the nudist movement, then you will encounter racism. That's the second barrier. And that also keeps other men who are genuinely nudists, like that keeps them from entering into, just branching out to meeting other people and going to these events, because either they're the only Black person there, or they have experienced some, they've been preyed upon by older white men, or they've just experienced some rejection that it was very hurtful and racist in character.
Have you had to deal with those scenarios, being the only one?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
My entire life, everywhere, not just in nudist circles, but by the time I was going to nudist parties, I was used to that. I was just, and I think, so for me, the reason why I moved to Oakland was because I got tired of that. I got tired of just always being the only Black person everywhere I went. And for me, I learned later on that it was more of a class thing.
Here in San Francisco.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Worldwide. It's all like class is very much intertwined with race.
Yeah.
And so for me, like I was raised middle class, so I was in a lot of like all white just experiences, lives, church, school, and everything, just like always the only Black kid or Black family. And so I had gotten used to that, but then the pandemic came and George Floyd was murdered, and that was just kind of a turning point for me in my adulthood, where I was just like, I need to get reconnected to my Black identity, and I need to go to a place where I'm surrounded by Black people, where there's just like, I'm fine with like other people being around, but like I can't be the only Black person anywhere anymore. Like, and that became a big part of my push to have more diversity at my naked parties that was happening as well. And so but again, it's been like a very difficult uphill battle because I find them, but I usually find them either one at a time. Lately, it's been getting easier because I've been part of group chats and other communities that have more Black gay men who are open to nudism. But yeah, it's been a really difficult challenge. I feel like I'm kind of on the other side of that now that I know more people, so it doesn't feel as difficult. But I remember when I was first starting out with that intention, I was just like, man, this is like every time I find Black gay men to talk to them about, hey, come to my naked break. Like, oh no, I need to lose weight first, or oh, can I go in my underwear or something sexy? And it's like, no, like it's the whole point of like when I know the difference between being at a clothing optional, party or resort or whatever versus being at a mandatory nudity place. And when you're at a place where nudity is mandatory, everybody is just the environment, the vibe is so much more relaxed. Everyone is authentic. Everyone is open-hearted. Everyone is ready to share about who they are because there's no shame. There's no shame you have to work through. And this was something I noticed about the naked pool parties that I was experiencing in Orlando, is that like there was always this point, and it was clothing optional, and there would always be plenty of people who were already naked from the very get-go, and then there would be like the other half who were wearing the tiniest Speedo or short shorts or whatever to the pool. And there would always be this point in the middle of the party where we're trying to convince the other half, the nudists are trying to convince the textiles to take off like that one tiny little piece of clothing.
The textiles?
Yeah. It's what we call people who wear clothes.
Love it. Okay.
So.
And do they come around? Do they eventually say, okay?
So here's the thing. Like what usually happens is that they would have to get drunk enough to get comfortable to do that. And then once they would take their clothes off, their mind would immediately switch to sex. Like there would be no period where they were comfortable enough in their body to just relax and just connect with people authentically. Like it had to go straight to sex. And that would be usually when everybody started having sex. But like my goal, that was the one thing that I wanted to change about how I ran naked parties. I wanted people to feel comfortable and authentic, connecting with other people in their bodies as they are, without necessarily needing to go straight to sex. Like sex is fine. I'm totally fine with sex, and that's something that we really can't avoid, especially when you got a whole bunch of naked gay men in the room. However, I also want to build community. That is my ultimate goal. And I just want to do it on my own terms. I love being naked, and I'm a very sex positive person. I think that if you meet somebody and you make a connection, then you should be able to express that connection, whatever that looks like. And so for me, naked parties, the ones that I'm throwing now, are the best way for me to build community for myself. And the cool part is that by trying to build community for myself on my own terms, it's allowed space for other people to experience the same thing, which is a very healing and fulfilling experience. So like I've gotten a lot of feedback from people, especially people who are new to it, of just like how much of a great experience it is for them to have this community of people that makes them feel comfortable to be themselves and to be within their own body, and to have less shame around who they are as a queer person or as a body, whatever that is.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's been really, really fulfilling. I've been so happy here.
And the impact in terms of community and in terms of connection and in terms of mental health, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? The spaces you create that are conducive to people feeling like they belong to something greater.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the difference between a suicide attempt and not.
Yeah.
So you literally are just seriously saving lives. I mean, it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
People tend to do things that are harmful or possibly suicidal when they just feel absolutely disconnected from any family, community, culture, and just like, well, no one would give a shit if I wasn't there.
Right.
So when you help people feel connected and get all that groovy oxytocin and play going, it's like that is no small thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, and I also love that your intention allow the way you create space, your energy creates space for diversity.
Yeah.
So this is not just a white San Francisco thing. People of all sizes, ages, races can get together and just be together.
Yeah.
I also appreciate you. A lot of people ask me about naked spaces, and a lot of people can't discern nudity from fucking. And sometimes those go together, but not always.
Yeah.
A lot of naked events are not about fucking.
My events, I've been doing this style for a while now, where like I have a separate room for sex, and then the rest of the space is for socializing, socializing naked. So that it's mostly for like me personally. I don't care, but I also have like a minority of friends who do care, who are not comfortable with like, they don't want to be at a sex party. They want to be at a nude social. And I care about both. I care about the social aspect of being nude, and I care about the sexual aspect of being nude. I think both should be there, but what I do is I keep them in separate spaces so that people have a choice of what they want to encounter and experience while they're there. And what I notice is that most of my friends are sluts. So they go back and forth.
Yeah.
They'll hang out. This is the funny thing that happens at my parties now. So at the beginning, everyone piles into the social area because they're nervous. And like, they don't, not everybody knows each other. I know everybody, and some of them know each other, but most of them are just kind of nervous, like, okay, we're sitting here, we're naked, and like, I'm here, I did it, like, I got naked, but like, everyone's just kind of like, it's weird in the sense that I let people know, like, hey, this is a sex positive party. If you want to go have sex, there's the room right there. There's a playroom. And it's not until either I or someone else who's super horny gets things started and like brings somebody into the playroom, all of a sudden they all fell into the playroom. And then once everyone like gets that sex out of their system, that is what breaks the ice, to allow them to come back into the social area and relax and connect. And that's when you start hearing the laughing, you start seeing people touching and really truly connecting and just being relaxed and just having a great time.
Wow.
And then they eventually go back to the library. It's like it happens in rounds and waves. It's interesting.
I mean, there's a natural ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, the thing people ask me, it's like, well, if I go to one of these things, do I have to have, even if I go in the sex room, do I have to do something? I'm like, no.
You can just watch.
You can just watch. You can
A lot
play.
of people do. A lot of people
You may know. You can say no to anything. You can say yes. And I do encourage people to sort of lean into their yes or lean into their maybe.
Yeah.
But no is still no.
Yeah.
And those boundaries are respected.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Wow. Now, you mentioned this started about a year ago with an intention in mind.
Well, it was not the parties that started with an intention. It was, you were asking about how I was finding all these events.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how it started.
Okay. So the intention was for you to get to be as naked as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a year ago.
Yeah.
A little over a year ago.
Yeah.
What led to that intention?
A long, cold winter.
Uh-huh.
I was just sick of being indoors. I was sick of having to bundle up. I was just so ready to get outdoors and be naked in the sun. And so I was just like, I want this so badly. And the thing about like setting intention, I didn't just like set it in my mind. I wrote it down, I talked about it, I shared it with friends. I made it very obvious to the world around me, like, this is what I want, this is what I'm going for. And so I think that's also a big part of how manifestation works, is that, you know, people know, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And they find out, oh, I found out there's this thing called, oh, Enzo was talking about that. I should let you know. You know, that's something that's happened a lot.
Do you have a spiritual practice?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a traditional African healer, also known as a Sangoma. I lived in South Africa during the pandemic to train to become one. And it's more of a calling that you have. And so like when I was there, I was really just living with another teacher, another healer, and her family and her staff, and just overshadowing them. And over that time, it actually unlocked some new spiritual gifts I didn't have before. But I did have some going in. My main gift is prophecy. So that is what I do now. When I, not full time, it's kind of on the side, but it's just been spreading word of mouth. And I'm seeing a client right now, actually helping her. And it's been really fulfilling also. It's like, I feel like I'm using my powers for good.
So what kind of treatment and healing are you offering or sharing?
Ancestral and spiritual. So what I do is I still work with my teacher in South Africa. And what we do is that we'll give a prophetic reading first to figure out what's going on. And
what's a prophetic reading?
It's when we tell you some things that like, your ancestors will tell us what's going on in your life and what's going on in your family and what's going on, like what things you need help with. And we'll share about that. And then that'll give us a blueprint of like what to work on towards healing. And we use traditional African rituals and forms of cleansing that are really simple. They use like household items, but for a lot of people, especially if you're already spiritually connected, which most of my clients are, you're going to see a difference. You're going to see something change. Like I've seen people get job opportunities. People have had, you know, migraines heal or go away, or they've seen just all sorts of different things. Everyone's different because we all have different ancestry and different issues going on in our lives. But like, there's always some sort of thing that happens. A lot of people, like ancestors, a lot of times will encounter people in dreams. So I've heard clients come back to me saying like, oh my God, like my dead grandfather came back and spoke to me or something like that. And it was like, and it was him, you know, like, and I got to connect with him for the first time since I was a kid and stuff like that. Like it all sorts of things can happen. But something usually happens. There's usually some sort of difference that happens. And so my goal is usually to just help connect people to spiritually connect them to their ancestors. Wow. So and there's, yeah, like I said, everyone's the results may vary, but they're always results.
Wow. So they connect with ancestors and then they get some alleviation from physical ailments.
Sometimes it manifests that way. Sometimes it manifests in just open doors, opportunities, or like new things happening, new spiritual encounters that they never experienced before. It can unlock things and then gifts that they didn't know they had. My calling tends to attract other people with the same calling as mine. So they're also healers. Usually they come to me. They may not know that until like they come and see me. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what to do for you because I needed the same thing when I was being trained. So we just teach them how to communicate with their ancestors directly because they have that gift to do so. With other people, we do that for them because maybe they don't have that calling or they don't have that gift, and that's mainly how we stay in business, so to speak. Is just like most people, they need someone to intervene for them. Just like, hey, I'm having some issues in my life, did you find out what my ancestors are saying about this? And this is a common social role that's played in Black and brown communities all over the world. So like Native Americans have this, Africans have this, Mexicans have this, Indians have this. You see it pretty much everywhere. And if you go back far enough with white people, when they were pagan, pre-Christianity, they had this as well. But they were called witches.
Okay. Wow. I'm taking that in.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of giving. You do a lot of healing, a lot of treating.
Yes.
How do you take care of yourself?
Getting naked.
Getting naked. Love it.
And having lots of sex. And receiving love from a lot of men in my life. I'm polyamorous.
Yeah.
I have a lot of
what does that mean to you?
It means that I love more than one person at the same time. So I have a primary partner at home who I live with. I have a secondary partner who lives in the Bay Area. He's married. He has a husband of his own. We see each other pretty frequently. And then I have other men in my life around the world who I'm connected to or have had history being connected to, whether it's sexually or romantically. And I don't put limits on my heart's ability to love other men.
It's beautiful. That's been exactly my life as well. It feels like in San Francisco, it's more accepted here. And I love some things about San Francisco, don't love some things about San Francisco, but I've always appreciated that it feels like when I was here in the 90s, that was just very much an accepted practice.
I remember moving here from Orlando, and when I was living in Orlando, I was like the weird one for being in the gay community, for being polyamorous. It was a new thing, it was a foreign thing, and like people really judged me for it. And then I moved here, and it was like my first day here. I was hanging out at Dolores Park because that was like right. I used to live in Castro. It was within walking because I used to live like right down the street from here.
Wow.
And that was one of the first places I stumbled into. And I was sitting there, and it was pretty empty. There's this one older guy who's there. I like older men. And so like we started talking, and we ended up making out. And he said, oh, let me show you pictures of my husband. I'm like, husband? And he's like, oh yeah, we're in an open relationship. And like, it's just so normal here. I'm like, wow, I'm not the only one. And this is like so accepted and normalized here. That's great. It's really been good for me as well.
It really is. And I think it represents like our life. We have the capacity to love and connect with multiple individuals.
And create our own rules around what those relationships look like.
Yes.
We're not limited to like the heteronormative definitions. And that's been something I've been talking with people about lately. And I think there's something really special about gay men in the way that we connect. There are so many different labels for types of relationships that we have, like within the heterosexual lexicon, but there's this one like undefined kind of relationship and connection that gay men have that like you don't see in the straight community, where it's like a little bit of everything. It's a connection where it's like you're clearly more than friends, but you're not partners. You're not romantically committed to each other, but there is a little bit of love, affection. You may or may not have sex with each other. There is loyalty. There is like, I remember I was talking to another friend of mine in Palm Springs, and I texted him and said, "You're like my father, my brother, my lover, and my friend all in one."
Wow.
And that's kind of how it feels. And I've had that experience with so many different gay men in my life, where I'm like, it feels like a little cheap to just call you a friend, because you're clearly more than that. But you're definitely, we're not, we're not dating, but it's somewhere in between. It's in that gray area where there's this certain type of like beautiful, loving relationship that gay men can have with each other, because we're not limited by the stereotypical heterosexual norms that we've been given by society. Like, this is what a relationship looks like. This is, you can only go this far. And we have that freedom to be able to like redefine it or expand the boundaries. And so like we have these really, I will say for myself, I have these really special like friendships, but they're really more than that. Just like loving, caring, just beautiful relationships. Some of them are platonic, some of them are sexual, but like the love and the support is there. And we also all know the difference too. Like we like, okay, this is your partner. We're friends, but we also like are very affectionate with each other.
Yeah.
Like there's I can tell you I love you, and we know what that means. And it's really sweet. It's one of those things that makes me really, really grateful to be a gay man, is because of all these ways that we're able to redefine relationships for ourselves, whether it's being polyamorous, having friends with benefits, or just affect. Like imagine, like I'm sure you've had this experience where you've been in a relationship, you break up, and you remain friends.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of connection that you have is very different from someone you have only been friends with,
Right.
and that's it. Like it's kind of like that.
Right.
It's kind of like that.
It's a familiarity. It's an intimacy.
Yeah.
And then I think, are you okay?
Yeah.
When we are creating relationship from a loving place,
Yes.
then that love doesn't have to go away.
Right.
Even if the primary relationship doesn't continue.
Right.
Right. So a lot of whom I call my created family are people who I was either at one time heavily involved with, or they are now the husbands of someone who I used to be involved with. And those are the people who I spend, holidays and birthdays and, New Year's with, and, people who are just the family.
Yeah. I love that chosen family.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It puzzles me when people, specifically straight people, talk about, oh, I can't be friends with someone I used to date, or someone I used to be married to. I'm like, you poor thing. No wonder you're lonely. Like if you, and in the queer community, we can't really afford to do that, especially here in the Bay Area. Like you said, it's such a small community. So we don't really want to be casting off or casting out people, because we're going to run out of people real fast. It makes more sense. So I love that. And I think that's such an important part of being alive in community, especially during turbulence. Oh, and there goes the light. It did that before. Okay. And during politically turbulent times.
Yeah, absolutely.
The community, the touch, the connection. Even
people have told me that.
Have people been coming to you for healing, or have they been sharing with you the strain of living during these political times?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's constant. But yeah, I mean, I think going back to my naked parties, that's been a real source of joy for people that in a time where they're very, very anxious about the world and the state of the world right now. And so like I feel like that's part of where my naked parties and building community form a little bit of resistance, because it's a place for people to find respite and joy at a time where like you need to have joy in order to get through hard times. And so it's like people have definitely shared that with me for sure.
We need that buffer from the cruelty that's unfolding in front of us as we speak. Yeah. And again, I think it's beautiful that you're creating space for that.
Thank you.
It's thank you. People sometimes can attend things. Yeah. Not everyone always has the inspiration to lead. And you're a leader.
I did it mainly. I'm the kind of guy where it's like, if something that I need doesn't exist, I create it. And so this is my way of doing that, because I've tried joining different queer groups and all that, and there was always something about my identity that was incompatible with that group. Ultimately, like I would find out later that, okay, this isn't working for me anymore. It's becoming such a problem that either they don't want me to be there or I don't want to be there. I don't feel comfortable being there. And so like that's what's led me to creating these parties. And like now I'm creating spaces where other people who feel the same way can be themselves there. And they're telling me that. That's like blowing my mind.
Isn't that
Yeah.
the most amazing thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get that, like, with this Tough Talk series. And you've actually been one of the people who's given me some really great feedback.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
To help people, again, it's sort of like, all right, well, there's the way I live my life, these conversations that I have at naked parties with people, the intimacy, the familiarity, even when people are just meeting for the first time, but that there is in the nakedness, there's a sacredness and there's an automatic intimacy that allows for these conversations. That's part of why I started this series 4 years ago, was to be able to have that and help people see this is available for them as well. For some people, clearly not their cup of tea. Some people are going to keep their Speedos on or whatever, no matter what. But for a lot of us, given the invitation and the normalcy of it, can be like, having naked conversations with friends is good. And believe me, it's like if more people in the world had naked conversations, there'd be a lot less volatility.
Yeah. It requires an intense amount of vulnerability to be naked. And for me, that's easy and it's fun. And I learned very early on that the key to intimacy is vulnerability. Like you can't get anywhere in any kind of relationship, whether it's professional, familial, sexual, romantic, like, or friendship. Like you have to open up at some point. And I feel like this is kind of metaphorical, but taking off your clothes like makes you more like emotionally vulnerable, not just like physically vulnerable. And it kind of happens at the same time. I've noticed when I watch people, like, especially if it's their first time, like, and that's why I say like the big difference between clothing optional spaces versus mandatory nudity spaces is that right there, because people are more authentic because they're not hiding behind clothes. We hide a lot behind clothes. We use our labels and titles in the world to hide who we really are behind that. And then when you don't have clothes to hide behind, you have no choice but to be your authentic self.
Right.
And of course, it's a lot easier when everybody's naked, like, to feel comfortable to do that. And that's what I usually see constantly in nude spaces, is people being their authentic, genuine selves and being relaxed and being joyful and being able to connect on a real level with each other and with themselves.
Right. The oxytocin.
Yeah.
That natural hormone, that groovy thing, when we have intimate consensual touch, is part of that. And we are in a world that's having a loneliness crisis, a loneliness epidemic.
Yeah.
I have never heard of someone going to a naked party feeling lonely.
No.
Definitely the clubs, definitely the circuit parties, the bars. People come to therapy and talk all the time about how they go to those things and feel completely lonely.
Yeah.
Like they're the only ones there. No one will talk to them. I've never heard that come up at a naked party.
I've never thought about that.
So it is different.
Yeah.
I also think it's like, because there's a couple of people in New York who just somehow know intuitively how to hold space for that. It's like, not everyone can do this. Not every planner or organizer or club person can create and facilitate a space where people feel welcome and represented.
Yeah.
Right? I know some people have tried, and when they do, it doesn't work. It takes a very, I don't know exactly how to name it, but just the people who are good at it, like you, just exude an open kindness that welcomes people to be intimate, to be vulnerable. It's not something you put on the door. It's just like you're being you, and you give other people permission to relax. Yeah. So beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay. The other thing we haven't talked about today is just, learning about sexual health. We've been talking in the tub, and we have been just talking about learning more and more about our bodies and sexual health, and specifically
a lot from your shows.
Good. Yeah. Thank you. So what are you learning about your butt from my shows?
So it was, oh my God, who was that one guy? Dr. Stephen
Lavender.
Yes. Yeah. That was the latest one I watched. That really helped me. And one of the things he was talking about was like making calling it making sure your butt is fuck fit.
Fuck fit. I love that phrase.
Yeah.
I like that stuck in my mind too.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
So like I was trying a lot of things that he was suggesting, and
Such as.
well, I wasn't into this before, but I tried briefly. I got some butt plugs.
Okay.
And it turned out my partner actually had one that he wasn't using, so I was able to use that. But I tried that for a little while, and I noticed, oh wow, I'm really not good at wearing butt plugs. Like I thought, oh yeah, it'll be no problem, but like it gets uncomfortable after like 10 minutes. Like I'm clearly not used to it, and I'm very tight as well. But it was just that, yeah, everything he shared was just really helpful, just encouraging me to get back onto some good practices for gut health. One of the things that I think that's helped me the most that I fell off the wagon doing, that he reminded me to do, is just taking more fiber. That was probably the best thing I'd ever done. And I wasn't even doing it for butt health specifically. I was doing it just to make douching easier. I had a brief period where I was like dating someone, and we would have sex, and like he'd have no chance to prepare. I didn't care, but like he was always clean. I'm like, how are you always clean every time? He's like, Metamucil. And so he encouraged me to start taking that, and I did that. And I was like, wow, like I never have to douche. Like I was like, this is awesome. Yeah. And I had a period where I was like going through some housing instability, and that created some stress, and then like it kind of ruined that for me. It wasn't really helping, so I got off of it. But then the moment I got off of Metamucil with fiber was when like I started experiencing hemorrhoids and fissures and all this stuff, and I had to figure out like how do I like get on top of this, and you helped me with like telling me about DoxyPep, and so I got on DoxyPep this year, and I haven't had any STIs yet since I got on it. Like I gotten tested twice this year, and like negative for everything every time. So that's helped. And then getting back on taking fiber supplements regularly has helped a lot.
So does that cut down on the fissures and the hemorrhoids?
Oh yeah, because now my anus is strong, and I'm also having healthy stools that are not scratching me on the way out, because that was another way that fissures could happen. Right. So that was really helpful. And then just that one of the things he was saying is like, you just got to make sure you have something up there like regularly so that your butt is ready. And I have 2 boyfriends. I have something up there pretty regularly. So that's really not a problem.
Right.
But yeah.
But that was such an interesting thing for me to hear it put that way. Yeah. And it tracked with my experience. I just didn't really have a term that, let's say you're not regularly stretching your butt out.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, great. I've got this trip coming up, and I know there's going to be lots of tops. So I'm just going to hold and save everything. And then if I do that, and then that first poke is going to burn. And I realized, oh, that wasn't the experience I was hoping to have. But if I stay fuck fit and continue to use fingers or whatever, just to keep the butt open, to keep my breath and my butt and my body open, by the time I get to that first actual penetrative experience, it's going to feel so much better. Yeah. It's going to slide right in. Yeah. So I want people to hear that, and I want people to know that, that's one of the things that can make our lives and make our sex even more enhanced if we choose to do that. Yeah.
Something also that was really helpful that I learned from a friend, but Dr. Lavender confirmed, is that something you can do after the fact if you have some irritation in your anus. He was recommending, my friend was recommending, take suppositories and like lube it up with some like either Neosporin or anti-hemorrhoidal cream, and like just put it up there. If you feel like there's just even just like the slightest like irritation, or you feel maybe the fissures coming on, just like put it up there overnight. And I've started doing that like whenever that happens. I don't have to do it like all the time, but just like if in your situation, like say you hadn't gotten fucked in a while, and then you go to this sex party, and all of a sudden like, whoa, your butt's like, that was a bit much. Yeah. And like it feels strained, it feels sore, and it feels like it might turn into a fissure or hemorrhoid. Like put a suppository up there with some cream, and like I've done this, and like the next day, fine. but it's like back to normal. Whereas
It's good
otherwise,
to know. I actually have not tried that.
Yeah.
You give me ideas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if I don't do that, like I've had times where that experience happens, and of course it develops into a fissure, and then I have to take like a week off to just not bother them. And of course, that's not fun. Like I had 2 boyfriends who were total tops. Like that's not your can't bother them. I can't have sex with them. I can have sex with other people, but I want to build
We
intimacy.
should call it a surrogate for those.
Yeah.
Have one on call or 2.
But yeah, it's nice to stay ready.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah.
Like,
And then it's easier. All of the preparation and the actual penetration is so much easier if you're staying prepared.
Yeah.
That's cool to know. You know, that is my meta wonderful moment, is just knowing that something I've created has affected your life in some way. It's just amazing. That's an amazing thing. And like you were saying earlier, I wrote this essay about being in 3rd grade, and we had to color turkeys for Thanksgiving, and I made mine purple. And the 3rd grade teacher said, you know, you always have to do things your own individual way, don't you? As you're from New York. And then I was like, yeah. And that always stuck with me, because that's been a hindrance and a help throughout my life. Not quite being, not quite fitting in, never quite being part of the team, not being a team player, constantly being seen that way in different social and professional settings, and in ways that had hurt. But then I also realized at some point, it's like, this is how I see the world. And if I can create action and create energy around that, then I get to do things kind of my own way. And sometimes I'm alone in that, and other times I'm creating community around that. But I much prefer life as a purple turkey, and like doing things or doing my tubs or doing the prep stuff my way.
That's totally my story.
Than trying to fit in other people's story.
Yeah, I had a similar experience growing up where like I could not fit in no matter how hard I tried. Of course, it didn't help being the only Black kid everywhere, but it just felt like I'm trying to do my best to like feel normal. And then after a while, I think it took until I was like an adult to realize that like, you know what, like I need to just embrace just being different. This is who I am. And once I started to embrace it, that's when it started to become a gift and an advantage. And I started to realize that the way that I see the world differently allows me to be creative and see the world in different ways that other people would never think of, that can create solutions, that can create community, that can create new ideas and new ways of thinking and doing things.
Wow. And create spaces where other people then feel welcome. At your naked parties, is there, I don't mean like an official way, but is anyone ever there helping people learn about DoxyPep or PrEP or U equals U, or helping people get connected with other things that can help improve the quality of their sex lives?
No, but most of the people are using those things.
Okay. Like, I forget, it's the Bay Area. People already know all this.
I mean, I think
a lot of people know this shit here.
But I've been to other I've been to sex parties or other gatherings where people are talking about it. And so it's not unusual for people to be talking about that at my party, because like it's just kind of, if you're a very sexually active person, especially in the Bay Area, like people are pretty mindful about like PrEP and DoxyPep, so it comes up in conversation just naturally.
Cool.
So it's never been something that I've really had to think about or worry about.
Okay.
The majority of people know about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a gift. I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah,
so happy to talk with you. Yeah. So if people watching this interview want to work with you or get healing treatments with you, what's the best way to do that?
They can, I'm not on social media, but I am on Telegram. I believe my handle is at public_nudist87.
Okay. So you give me that link. I can post it down below if people want to ask you questions about how you help and treat.
Yeah.
If somebody in the Bay Area is interested in attending one of the parties, and they're watching this video and they're like, I think I'd fit in. I could be a good person. Do you have a waiting list right now? Or
I don't have a waiting list, but it's because I invite people directly, because it's people that I know. And usually the way I get new people is because those people that I know ask me if they can bring someone else that I don't know. And I'm really trying, again, diversity is really important to me. So the first question I always ask is like, are they a person of color?
Yeah.
And if they're a person of color, there's an instant yes. But otherwise, it's like, okay, I need to get to know this person to make sure they're the right fit for my party, or tell me a little bit more about them. So basically, if you want to come to my party, you have to know me.
Okay.
You have to know me personally already, or you have to know someone who already knows me. So it's because again, it's all about creating the right space with the right people.
Yeah.
And like not every place right for that. Some
Right.
people are great. And so if you're, sex positive and you're comfortable with it anyway, and you either are comfortable with nudity or you want to experience it for the first time, yeah, I would encourage them to like reach out to me via Telegram. Is probably the best way to get a hold of me. I also have an email address, but Telegram is a lot easier for me to respond to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Hey, thank you. And I want to go to one of your sex parties. I want to come. So next time I come to San Francisco, I'm going to coordinate this better.
Yeah, for sure.
This was not okay. Next time.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Thank you for taking time to be with me. If you like this video, subscribe. There's nearly 200 episodes now of people around the world who are creating happier, healthier spaces. And everyone who I've been interviewing has been inspiring me because everyone's trying to do something to make our lives better and get through this turbulence in a healthier way.
Yeah.
So if you do like that, subscribe down below. If you don't like that, send someone you don't like to subscribe down below, and keep these conversations going in your bathtubs or your pools or your beaches or wherever you have bathtubs or conversations with your friends.
Or just get naked.
Or just get naked. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.